So please welcome me in welcoming Gerald Hartley with his speech, Ars Rhetorica. Ars Rhetorica, Gerald Hartley.
Rhetoric is defined as a faculty of discovering the possible means of persuasion in reference to any given subject. This is a function of no other of the arts or science, each of which is able to instruct or persuade in its own special subject. And thus, health deals with health and sickness. Geometry involves the properties of magnitude, and arithmetic with number, and especially all other arts and sciences. But rhetoric, so to speak, involves the discovery of the means of persuasion across any particular subject. Aristotle, the Ars Rhetorica. Now, the ancient Greeks were rather switched on, very clever people. And the famous philosopher Aristotle himself wrote the Ars Rhetorica in the 4th century BC as the art of delivering an argument. Now, Aristotle defines 3 key factors when it comes to making a persuasive argument. And those are, number 1, the moral character of the speaker. Number 2, the ability of the speaker to put the listener in a certain frame of mind. And number 3, the content of the speech itself. So now Aristotle refers to the moral character of the speaker. What is he referring to? He says there are 2 aspects of a moral speaker or influential speaker. Number 1, the speaker needs to have confidence in themselves, stand up straight, shoulders back. And number 2, the speaker needs to be able to be certain of their position. So once you have that certainty and once you have that clarity, the second part comes from gaining the audience's trust. By having that certainty and clarity, you set the tone for the rest of the speech so everyone is engaged and everyone is listening. I could use an example. Do you want the audience to be angry? Do you want them to be outraged? Because day after day, we've got new cases of COVID coming into the border. After all the sacrifices we've been through, after all the trials that we've had to go through this year, how could this possibly be happening? Or do you want them to be a bit more excited? Because you lucky lot turned up at 7 a.m. in the morning and you went to listen to me talk about Aristotle. Oh, if you could see the look of excitement on all your faces right now, it's just so magical. And indeed, do we want them to laugh? And the last point comes from the actual content of the speech. Aristotle says that a persuasive speech, a persuasive argument must have a logical conclusion, and you must be able to prove it. So what does that mean? We have stated the subject of our speech, and we have the evidence to back it up. One way to do this is to be able to give a narrative or a series of events, telling your argument in the form of a story. People who do this exceptionally well are lawyers in the court of law, infamously well, actually. And they're able to do this by creating the story, creating that narrative and building on it so that the idea is implanted in the person. So I'll give you an example. If a lawyer were to speak to a witness and ask them a question, the question is actually the more important part of the argument rather than the answer. It doesn't matter that if the accused denies being at the scene of the crime at a particular place at a particular time, because the narrative exists that they were there. And so to sum it up, Aristotle says that not only must we be true to our intentions, not only must we gain the trust and gain the trust of the audience, but we must also be able to present a logical conclusion and present with real facts. And to sum all the ideas up this morning, Aristotle himself states that an effective argument is able to do the following. I have spoken, you have listened. You know the facts, now make your decision. Thank you, and I hope you have been persuaded.